Hello, you legendary friends, and welcome to our LinkedIn Live for Thursday, the 8th of June. I just got to say that you're very awesome and thank you for all your support. This has been the third one of our new LinkedIn Live series. I'm going to say they've been absolutely kicking butt because of you and your legendary support. It is so great having you with us. If you just come in or you're watching the recording, smash that like, share, and comment. Connect with me anytime and also connect with wonderful Lassie as well. Now, my friends, in this live, a lot of you said, Ed, content. Now, if you've got any questions, just ask me while you're here. But in this live, especially, I want to talk to you about content, how to create awesome content and how to really, really stand out in style and win big. So I'm going to tell you some of my thoughts on content, right? And you're talking to a guy who creates a lot of content, who shares a lot of content on LinkedIn. And welcome. We got Ziad with us. Z is my name too. Ziad, welcome. Big welcome, Ziad. If you just come in, smash that like, share, and comment and say hello because I love you. If you're watching the recording anytime in the future, make sure you say hello to me and I'll remind you of how awesome you are. So, my friends, we've got 7 tips to legendary LinkedIn content. So let's go through it and let's see what awesome you think. Now, here's one of the biggest things about LinkedIn, right? The first thing is, and I'll go back a little bit, you want to be clear on LinkedIn on what you stand for, who you are, what you do, what your beats to your drummer, and how you win big. And oh my God, Brett Packard. Brett Packard, we love you. We've got Brett Packard from Las Vegas. We've got Jeff Field from Manila. Welcome, everyone. If you just come in, tell me where you're from, and so good having you with us. And love your work, by the way. But here's a big thing. You got to think about what do you want to do with LinkedIn? What does LinkedIn Why are you on there? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to get promoted? Are you trying to get more customers? What do you actually do for a living? So that's question number 1. And once you've done that, you then want to create content that supports that vision. You've got to make sure that your content that you create is consistent with your brand, consistent with what you stand for. I'll use a bit of a controversial example. Politics. Politics is not very welcome on LinkedIn. In fact, even LinkedIn says that in their user agreement. Like they're not into politics, and they just don't want it on there. Now, here's a big thing, right? You got to be very clear as to what you stand for and what you don't, because if you share something, you don't want to do a Bud Light. You've all heard about Bud Light, haven't we? You don't want to share something that upsets your customers and loses you a stack of people. And likewise, to the opposite, you want to make sure you're sharing content that creates the vision of who you are, plus brings the right customers to you. Does that make sense? Let me know what you think. We've got Guadalupe with us. We've got Haroon. We've got Prani. Welcome. If you just come in, smash that like, share, and comment, and say hello and tell me where you're from, and I'll give you a shout out. Rana, Mohammed, great seeing you. We've got Bob. You've got all the gang here. I love your work. We've got people from Malaysia. Very cool. So that's the key thing. Make sure you don't want to do a Bud Light. Okay, you don't want to do a Bud Light, right? You don't want to do something that just flames your business and damages you, right? In fact, I was just reading before you. If you haven't read up on the Bud Light controversially, I highly encourage you to just type Bud Light. And they've really, really made a few blunders that have absolutely destroyed their market share. Firstly, they didn't really understand their own brand or their customers, and they did something that offended much of their customers, and they never really dealt with it well as a short stuff. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you don't do a Bud Light. But to the opposite, you want to do a Microsoft or a LinkedIn. You want to share content that's in line with the values of your customers. That's very, very important. Hello, Amanda Stevens. Welcome. Bhavya from India. Welcome. So that's a key thing I want to say to you. Now, with all that said, my big advice to you is post once a day, 5 days a week. Now, I actually post about 10 times a day, 7 days a week, because I'm a lunatic and I love it. But my big advice to you, and this is just general default, please post more than this, right? Please post a lot more than this. But I'm saying it's a great default. Start by posting once a day, 5 days a week. And it's good to post in the mornings relative to your time zone. Why should you post in the mornings? Great question. Because here's the thing, right? Relative to your time zone, I'm in Sydney, wherever you are. If you post late at night relative to your time zone, your locals aren't going to see it. So think about who your customers are. If your customers are local to where you live, post in the morning relevant to your time zone. It's very important. We got Prani Sriwang from Thailand. Prani, we've really got the international crowd here. A big thank you. We've got Farhad Khurshid from Sydney. That's where I am. So great having you. So that's the thing. You want to start posting daily or more. Great place to get started. The next one would have heard me say this a lot in my lives already if you watched some of my previous lives. Classy and beautiful. With your content, right? A lot of people say, Ed, what should I post? Firstly, think about you and your business and what you're trying to do, right? But you want to post content that's classy and beautiful. And here's the easy point. It doesn't have to be about business. You don't have to always post stuff about your business, okay? Because if you keep it all businessy, it's going to be boring, and there's a lot of room on LinkedIn for classy and beautiful social content. And whenever I say social content on LinkedIn, I always have to put in the word classy to kick it off, okay? Because where sometimes I think people go wrong is they might bring their bad Facebook or Instagram habits to LinkedIn, and you don't have to be that classy on Facebook or Insta, but you have to be classy on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a high-value platform full of winners like you, and they expect classy. And you know what? So do I, and I expect that. And I got a great question from wonderful Bhavya. Bhavya says, Ed, what day is a good day to post in a week to get more reach on LinkedIn? I can't answer that, to be honest. It's more the mornings. It's not, so this is my experience, right? I haven't seen so much one day being better than the other, but I found the morning. So I don't know if it's a good answer or not, Bhavya, but I found it's not so much the day, but it's the fact that you post in the morning, because I've seen people do this, seen people do really good posts late at night relative to their time zone, and they only get like maybe 100 views. Whereas if I do the same post in the morning, they might get 2,000 views because their actual market will pick it up. And Jeff Veal likes classy food. Love your work, Jeff, and great seeing you. So you got to keep it classy and beautiful. And also too, I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. Do you have coffee? If you got coffee, tea, got a drink right now, let's have, as what Scott Adams will say, a simultaneous sip. So what you do is grab your coffee or beverage, and we're all going to have a sip together. So make sure you grabbed it. And even if you're watching the recording, still have a sip with me at the same time. So 3, 2, and 1. Cheers to you. Doesn't that feel good? I know around the world, some of you had a simultaneous sip with me. And that's courtesy of Scott Adams. I've ripped off Scott Adams on that one. So we love you, Scott. So classy and beautiful is very, very important. Third one is a mixture of content. A mixture of content. And this can be a range of different types of content. Again, with all the other providers, classy and beautiful and positive and all that. Bhavya's drinking tea. Love your work. What tea are you drinking, Bhavya? But this is what you have, right? You might, for example, do something that's quite social. You might catch up with one of your business partners and take a photo. You might catch up with one of your colleagues and give them a shout out. You might sit there and do a little video giving some tips and ideas about what you do. You might sit there and do a full-on LinkedIn Live like yours truly is doing now and that you're watching. So there's heaps of different ways you can do it and different ways that you can apply it to get the real result you want. So definitely do a mixture of content. That works absolutely beautifully. And LinkedIn Lives absolutely rock. And Farhad's drinking tea, black with milk. Good choice. That's how I like it. So one thing that I've really noticed, especially algorithmically as well, is LinkedIn Lives are absolutely amazing. So some of my, next to polls, right, and some cool photos that I've done, some of my biggest posts lately have been doing LinkedIn Lives. And they're just so easy because at the end of the day, right, it takes about 15 minutes. It's just me talking to you right now to do the LinkedIn Live. So they're actually really, really easy. So LinkedIn Lives are fantastic. There's several ways you can do LinkedIn Lives. And I'm actually going to do a LinkedIn Live on running LinkedIn Live. So stay tuned for that one. That'll be quite funny. But here's some of the thoughts on doing really good LinkedIn Lives. Firstly, wear some nice clothes that are consistent with your brand. As you know, I tend to wear purple Lacoste. Have a really nice background. I'm actually sitting with a green wall behind me. I just happen to have green walls, so I don't need a green screen. My whole wall's a green screen. So you can put on a cool background. This photo you can see is of the runway from Sydney Airport as I think I was traveling to Brisbane, which is fantastic. And also too, you can use PowerPoint as well. Like see on this side, actually, right there, you can use PowerPoint as well. So lives can be really good. It can be you talking on camera. You can go through a PowerPoint. The other thing that I really love about it as well is you can interview someone as well. So you've got so many options as to what you can do. And friends, what do you think? Say hello, like, share, comment. Tell me where you are and what you think. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat. And if I pick them up, I'll definitely answer them. Now, there's an interesting one. We're going to bring up Bud Light again. Bud Light did the opposite of this. You got to really understand what your followers and your customers want. And Bud Light's a famous example, and Bud Light's I think, going to be taught in marketing textbooks for the next 300 years in terms of how to take a number one brand and absolutely tank it because they didn't understand their customers, right? And here's one of the big things. You need to really be inside your customers' and followers' head, okay? So what do they want to see? What do they expect from you? What kind of stuff are they into already? You sort of want to get that flavor about them. One of the best things to do, and this is a bit of research for you, by the way, feel free to look at my posts or other top influencers and look at what people post and how people respond to it, because you want to get a bit of a taste as to how people respond. Now, here's the beautiful thing I love about LinkedIn. LinkedIn, you have obvious metrics to tell you how people like your content. Likes, comments, and you get impressions. And when you hit impressions, this is what I love about LinkedIn, you can find out who's viewing, what roles are they, where are they from. So you can get really good metrics to make sure, is your content hitting the target direct on? And that is very, very, very good. So I hope that helps. We've got Kitty on our desk as well. I don't know what he's going to do, but we've got Kitty right there, and I'm very, very suspicious. So there we go. Very suspicious. So on my table, I got a glass of water, which he drinks out of. So Kitty always jumps on the table. I won't grab him yet because he might slash me up and there'll be a lot of blood everywhere. So this live will turn into a horror film. So there you go. You got to really understand what customers want. See the data, as I was saying before. And would you watch your own content? This is, to me, very important. Would you watch your own content? The reason why I say that, right, there's a bit of a litmus test here, is that I've spoken to a lot of people who've said to me, they're putting out content and they're asking me for advice on their content, which is fine. And I'll actually turn around and say to them, what do you think of your own content? They give me that reaction. And my question then is, would you watch your own content? Okay, would you actually be into your own content? And they actually turn around and said, be honest with me, right? I turn around and say, no, I'm not sure if I'd be into my own content. If you're not going to watch your own content, who is? So that's my big bit of advice to you. Okay, so I've got a few additional bonus thoughts as well, my friends. Firstly, smash that like, share, and comment, and say hello and tell me where you're from. And thank you for tuning into my lives, be it watching the recording or you're here live. But here are a few legendary thoughts for you, my amazing friends. Check out my content. Go to my LinkedIn feed, have a look at my content, look at other top influencers, and look at the type of content that you can tell is sticking and what is missing. Right? Even with me, some of my content goes absolutely gangbusters, and some of it completely misses the mark. So you want to actually start looking at content that you see to get a flavor and idea for it. And then, of course, as well, you've got to think about you, think about your values. What do you stand for? What are you going to talk about? And how, as well, are you going to make your lives and your content interesting? Now, a few other additional points as well that I want to add as well. Polls do really well on LinkedIn as well. You've seen me do quite a few polls over time. Polls can be really good on LinkedIn. And I find with polls, if you ask a simple yes or no question, it's really good. So that's where I think people screw up polls quite a bit on LinkedIn. They'll do a poll, but they'll ask 4 or 5 questions, and it takes too much thought, or the poll is aimed at only a small niche of people. If you ask a more general poll that's in the universe of what you do with a simple yes or no, that can do really, really well. So, for example, travel is actually something I talk about a lot in part of my content. So I might do a poll tomorrow morning saying, do you like to fly? Yes or no? Again, travel is relevant to what I do in the universe that I work in. So there are a few tips to help you win big. So my friends, I just want to say how amazing you are and how good looking you are. And here's my big bit of advice to you. If you haven't already started posting, start posting. And the other point is as well, make sure you like, share, comment other people as well. That is very important. Okay. I'll give you an example. Oh my God, we got Sandy Diaz with it. Sandy Diaz, I love you. We got Sandy Diaz. She's an amazing lady. We love you, Sandy Diaz. But here's some of the things that I really, really like to do, right? Is this. Before I do a post on LinkedIn, I actually jump on and like, share, comment a stack of people. I like, share, comment my friends, people I like, content I like. And you know what? It works really well because here's the worst thing you can do. If you're just dumping content on LinkedIn, hoping for it to take off, not recommended. If you're actually liking, sharing, and commenting and supporting other people as well, you will find that you will get that reciprocity. Reciprocity? Yes, reciprocity straight back to you. And you know what? It's just awesome. And a few other tips as well I want to give you as well while we're here. Color is very important. Make sure your posts are colorful, vibrant, positive, eye-catching. Because here's the thing. If someone's on LinkedIn, right? Someone's on LinkedIn. Bring up my LinkedIn feed. Someone's on LinkedIn, blowing up LinkedIn. You gotta remember, oh my God, there's my live. You can actually see me there. No, wait, there's my live. But here's a big thing, right? Here's a big thing about LinkedIn. As you scroll down on your feed, right? As you scroll down on your feed, remember, you're competing with other people for attention, right? So what content are you going to put out there that's going to grab the attention of people around you? It's something to think about, actually, something to think about. And if you look at it, LinkedIn's quite a bright and vibrant place. So how is your content going to stand out? So that's something you want to think about, friends. Have a good look at LinkedIn. Have a good look at my content, get a feel for it. We've got Andrew Goldberg with us. Reciprocity. Yes, it is all about reciprocity. And that's my big advice to you. So, friends, I just want to say a big thank you for watching live. If you've got any questions, type them in right now or message me afterwards. And just a few quick things. We've got our networking Zoom on, our international networking Zoom on tonight, Thursday, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. If you want to come, just send me a message afterwards. I can send you a link. Also, too, if you want to help, we've got great LinkedIn workshops. We've got great LinkedIn mentoring programs. If you're interested in our help on LinkedIn, just send me a message afterwards. We can have a chat. I can send you some cool links and give you tips on the house. So just message me afterwards. And also, too, make sure you connect with Lassie as well. And also, too, an honorable mention. You're going to laugh at this. I'm actually getting up nice and early tomorrow morning. I'm going to get up at 2:30. I got to grab an early morning flight to Brisbane to run our meetup. So, oh boy, I'm going to have a big long one. And Andrew Goldberg makes a point. Often the feed is old and you need to refresh it all the time. You've got to jump on and refresh your feed. So, my friends, I hope these thoughts help you. I just want to say a few things to you in closing. You're awesome. I love your work. I appreciate you. And thank you for being a part of my lives. Stay awesome, friends. Stay tuned for more lives coming. And I've got to say, I love your legendary work. Stay awesome.